Hey everyone, Kay from Legacy of Lore here. Today we're talking about Frozen 2. This will be a spoiler review and discussion, so there are spoilers in this video. You have been warned. If you would like a spoiler-free review, click the card and return to the video once you've seen Frozen 2. This video will start from the assumption that you've seen Frozen 2, but I'll try to provide enough context for this to pretty much stand alone. In addition to my own thoughts, having seen Frozen 2 twice now, I'll also be responding to some of the points from the Super Carlin brothers spoiler review video on Frozen 2 and other thoughts I have seen in discussions and reviews. To give credit where credit is due, the Super Carlin brothers definitely called the fact that this film would include 4 elemental spirits: wind, earth, fire, and water, in their Elsa the Last Icebender video, link in the description. Now, I absolutely love this film. I think, as mentioned in my spoiler-free review, that it is comparable to the original in quality. The two films are really difficult to compare, simply because they are so different. The aspects of the original Frozen that I enjoyed were not neglected in Frozen 2. The music is phenomenal, the animation is stunning, the voice acting is on point. I really appreciated that Elsa still has aspects of anxiety that manifest in a real way. She is much more powerful in this film, but she is still haunted by uncertainty. She is no longer afraid of her own powers, but is now afraid of doing the wrong thing. She wants to do what is best for everyone else. She doesn't want to fail them, and in so doing, neglects her own needs. A lot of criticisms that I have of the story would be, I liked how they started X, Y, and Z, but wish they had continued or done more with it. In summary, Frozen 2 is set 3 years after the final events of Frozen. As the movie starts, Elsa is trying to settle into a new role as queen, and Anna is enjoying the new way of life that she has gained. Olaf is struggling with the idea that nothing is permanent, and Kristoff would like to ask Anna to marry him. We learn more about the past of Arendelle, told through the eyes of King Agnar during a flashback to Elsa and Anna's childhood. That his father built a dam as a way to connect to the North Aldra people who live in the enchanted forest up north. The North Aldra people lived in harmony with nature and the spirits of the forest, the spirits of earth, fire, water, and air. According to the story, the North Aldra people attacked the soldiers and ambassadors of Arendelle at a combined celebration in the forest. During the fighting, Agnar's father was killed and Agnar hit his head. He hears a voice and is saved, but he does not know who saved him. The spirits are angered by the fighting, lashing out and causing havoc. But a magical mist falls over the forest that does not allow anyone in or out, and causes the spirits to become dormant. After the story, their mother, Iduna, sings a lullaby to the young princesses about a river called Atohalan, in which all memory is found. In the present day of the film, Elsa hears a voice calling to her that only she can hear. She tries to resist the call, but ultimately awakens the spirits of the forest, who force everyone out of Arendelle. Grandpappy tells them that there is a wrong that must be righted, and if not, he sees no future for Arendelle. And with that, the party of Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf are off to the enchanted forest. When Elsa touches the mist surrounding the forest, unlike for everyone else, the mist parts for her and they manage to enter, but are then trapped inside by the mist. Soon after, they are attacked by the air spirit, whom Olaf names Gale after Elsa tames it, and as Elsa fights, her powers reveal moments frozen in time, specifically of a North Aldrin girl saving their father. They later realize that this girl was their mother. The party is met by the North Aldrin people and the Arendelian soldiers who have been stuck in the forest for over 30 years. They are threatened by the rampaging fire spirit, who turns out to be a small salamander-like creature once Elsa counters its fires and befriends it. Elsa believes they must continue north, but they set up camp for the night with the North Aldra people and the Arendelian soldiers to wait for morning. While they wait, Elsa learns that there is believed to be a fifth spirit, a bridge between the spirits and humans. The camp is disturbed by rock giants, the earth spirits, who sense Elsa's presence. While Anna convinces Elsa not to follow the passing rock giants, Elsa determines to continue north without waiting for morning. As Kristoff has gone off somewhere else to set up a proposal for Anna, they leave him behind, and the party at this point consists of Anna, Elsa, and Olaf. They come across Anna and Elsa's parents' ship and learn that their parents died trying to cross the dark sea to find Carlin, which they believe to be the source of Elsa's powers. Elsa forces Anna and Olaf away back towards the camp and continues north on her own, while Anna and Olaf stumble upon a place where the earth giants sleep and then get stuck in a cave. Elsa tries to cross the dark sea but is hindered by the water spirit, a knock. She tames the knock and it takes her to Carlin, where she discovers that she was the fifth spirit all along and unlocks more of her powers, which she uses to search for the memories of the great wrong that must be righted. Here she learns that her grandfather built the dam to weaken the North Aldrin people, and that he plotted to attack them unprovoked because he feared magic. During the celebration of the building of the dam, he attacked the North Aldrin leader, who was unarmed, sparking a battle between the two groups. In learning this, she ventures too deep into Carlin and freezes solid. Before she freezes completely, she sends out one last bit of magic, a message to tell Anna what really happened. The message reaches Anna and Olaf, but as Anna interprets the message, Olaf starts flurrying away and they realize that Elsa must have gone too deep. Olaf disperses and Anna remains in the cave, heartbroken, alone, and grief-stricken. However, she brings herself to get up and move forward to do the next right thing. She wakes the earth giants and has them follow her to the dam, with the help of Kristoff and the Arendelian soldiers inciting the giants to destroy the dam, despite knowing that the resulting flood will rush down the fjord and destroy Arendelle. Elsa unfreezes, and with the help of the knock, she stops the flood from reaching Arendelle, saving the kingdom. Elsa elects to remain in the forest as the spirit side of the bridge between magic and people, and Anna becomes the new queen of Arendelle and the other side of that bridge. Poetically, one of the sisters ends up in Arendelle and one in the northern lands of the North Aldra, corresponding to their father and mother's origins. The music in Frozen 2 is spectacular. I doubt any of the songs will be quite as popular as Let It Go from the original, but Into the Unknown and Show Yourself are in the same league. All Is Found, the lullaby sung to Anna and Elsa by their mother, is beautiful and ties into the rest of the film very well. It predicts not only that Carlin will call to them, but that if one goes too deep into Carlin, one will drown. Personally, although Some Things Never Change is a fun song and well written, I didn't enjoy it, because it seemed very naive to me, but it suits Anna's character and ties into the theme of change in the film. Into the Unknown is gorgeous, and as mentioned in my spoiler-free review, Idina Menzel has a beautiful voice. I thoroughly enjoyed her performance. Some of the reviews I have heard and seen complained about the way Elsa starts the song resisting the calls of the voice and then ends it by waking the spirits of the forest. Although I understand the reasoning behind the complaint, I personally thought that it was not a problem. She wants to stay where she is and not lose what she has gained, but the voice keeps her awake and her essence and her magic tell her to follow. Anyone who has ever been nagged at, especially when they are tired, can understand ultimately giving in, and that's not so different from the other emotional transformations that occur in songs, whether in this movie or in the original. Elsa fears what she would lose if she follows the voice into the unknown. She's afraid of losing those she loves, but not about losing herself. She's comfortable going on her own, but hesitates to take them with her. She's not worried for herself. And as she herself says, she can feel that the voice calling her is good, which is part of the reason why she isn't afraid to go after the voice, but is worried about the dangers of the journey itself. The next song in the film is When I Am Older. It's a fun song continuing Olaf's internal struggle and is likely to bring a chuckle to any viewer. Thereafter, we have Reindeer Are Better Than People, or Reindeers Are Better Than People, and Lost in the Woods. Jonathan Groff has a good singing voice, and I'm glad they gave him a proper singing role in this film. I do enjoy the intentional music video style cinematography of Lost in the Woods. Even though Olaf and Kristoff's songs are both intended as part of the comic relief, they are still beautifully animated and well performed. Thereafter, we have Show Yourself, a beautiful sequence again with a stellar performance from Idina Menzel. I love the rhythm of Into the Unknown, but Show Yourself becomes so emotional once you realize that the song's about self-discovery. Elsa doesn't even realize that she is on a journey of self-discovery until the very end, and I truly believe that this song is something special. And then, the final song of the film is The Next Right Thing. Heart-wrenching and beautiful. I would like to praise Kristen Bell for her performance. It is very easy to do too much or too little with a song as emotionally charged as this one, and she got it just right. This song had me crying in theaters, and as much as I found Some Things Never Changed unrelatable, I found The Next Right Thing very relatable indeed. Another honorable mention is Panic at the Disco's cover of Into the Unknown, which plays during the credits. I usually don't enjoy rock or pop covers of songs from musicals, but this is a notable exception. Disney has the art of animation and cinematography down. They once again improved on their previous work, and I found myself in awe of the little details. One notable scene, I think, is when the water is rushing towards Arendelle. Absolutely stellar animation. The sequences for Into the Unknown and Show Yourself are also spectacularly gorgeous. Although some felt that certain aspects of the film felt forced, like Elsa deciding to follow the voice over the span of a song, the story speeding up after Elsa freezes and Anna saving the day, it didn't detract from the movie for me. Kristoff had very little to do in this film. His only real task is to ask Anna to marry him, and even his final successful attempt feels a bit out of place. Anna is pretty one-tracked in the film, only caring about her sister and about not losing Elsa again. Understandable, I suppose, within the context of the bigger story, but I would have liked to see more of her character, more of her relationship with Kristoff, for example. For me, I like to think that Kristoff actually did get lost in the woods, and that's why he had much less to do in the film than he did in the previous film, or that he was searching for Anna and Elsa and came across Anna in the nick of time. After all, he is only separated from Anna and Elsa for a day, perhaps 2. I would admittedly have liked to see some consequences to the events of the film. Other than Elsa moving to the woods and Anna becoming queen, neither of which is necessarily bad, there are no consequences, which undermines the stakes. And yes, this is a Disney film made for younger audiences, so I wasn't expecting deaths or a tragic ending, but allowing at least some damage to Arendelle would have been better, in my opinion, than leaving everything as it was untouched. For a more in-depth discussion, I will be discussing each character's story on its own. I was happy to learn more about these two and their relationship with their children. Although most of their dialogue is exposition and setting up the story, it still felt quite natural. I've heard some people suggest that Queen Iduna was the 5th spirit before Elsa, and that it was passed on to Elsa. That's not what I got from the film, especially since in the scene where Anna and Elsa discover their parents' ship, they find a map to Carlin on which their mother wrote, "The end of the Ice Age, the river found but lost, magic source, Elsa source?" If the mother had been the 5th spirit, she would have had powers as well, in my opinion. We never see Iduna use any magic, although she seems to be good friends with Gale. If she had powers, she would surely have taught Elsa how to use hers. An argument that could be made is that Iduna was the 5th spirit and didn't know about it, similar to Elsa. If this is the case, I didn't feel like the film makes it clear. When she calls for the spirits to help her save Agnar, she uses a similar call to the voice that calls Elsa. But when comparing the two voices, they're different. At least they're in 2 different pitches. In fact, it seems like they were sung by separate vocalists. Personally, I think the reason for using a similar call is simply that it's familiar. It's likely the way the North Aldra communicated with the spirits. I was disappointed with the limited role of the North Aldran people in the film. Very few of them had lines, and those who do have very few. They seem to only be there to give a bit of exposition and flavor to the setting, but have very little to do with the story itself. I would have liked to see more of them and what seems to be an interesting culture. Similarly, I feel the Arendellian soldiers were underused. Lieutenant Matthias was very interesting, and I really would have liked to see more of him. I enjoyed his reactions to Olaf's recap of the original film and his conversation with Anna about doing the next right thing. I would have liked to see them question Anna's judgment when she brings the giants to destroy the dam, possibly oppose her, but I do understand why the choice was made not to do that. Since Lieutenant Matthias most likely feels that he has failed 3 Arendellian monarchs, King Ruinard, King Agnar, and now Elsa, he follows Anna's instructions. With Elsa dead, Anna is, after all, the queen, and of course, a movie has limited time to work with, especially one that is targeted at children. There isn't much to say about Kristoff. He's not very present in the film. I didn't enjoy the jokes that he was part of. I didn't find his exaggerated struggling to ask Anna to marry him funny, but that's just personal opinion. As mentioned, I would like to headcanon that he actually did get lost in the woods, or that he was trying to catch up to Anna and Elsa when he came across Anna returning with the giants. I found his internal struggle, wondering whether he and Anna are growing apart, interesting, and I wish it had been explored more. But in classic happy ending fashion, I adored the way he responds to Anna when he and Sven grab her when she's about to be crushed by a giant. "I'm here. What do you need?" When she tells him that she needs to get to the dam, no questions are asked. He just does what she needs him to do. Another line I liked but found slightly out of place is the line of, "My love isn't fragile." I found Olaf much funnier and more relatable in this film. I didn't really enjoy him in the original. He felt very tagged on and forced into the story. Again, this is just my personal taste. It's interesting to see when he feels anger for the first time in his life, and I like the message that Anna gave him. It's okay to be angry. But again, I do wish they had expanded more on this story thread. Anna is adorable as ever, but becomes very one-track in this film. She's so stuck on sticking to her sister that she literally abandons Kristoff and leaves him behind, figuratively and emotionally speaking, at multiple points in the film. She loves the new life she has. She likes being connected to the people around her, and in attempting to keep the connection with her sister going, she ignores other connections that she has. And there are no consequences to this near obsession. Kristoff doesn't get upset with her beyond a mopey song, and no one really gets frustrated with how clingy she becomes. In her song The Next Right Thing, she literally sings, "The only star that guided me was you," which is simply not true. However, it is a very accurate portrayal of grief. Mind you, her reaction to getting her sister back into her life after years of not speaking is understandable. But again, I don't feel like the avenue of how it affects those around her is well explored. As mentioned previously, I loved her song The Next Right Thing, and it captures the feeling of depression and grief very well. Considering that an estimate of at least 6.7% of, or 16.2 million US adults have suffered at least one major depressive episode in their life, many people can probably relate to this. And even if they have never been depressed before, everyone has or will experience grief in their life at some point. Having recently lost someone close to me, Anna's song The Next Right Thing hit me hard. I found it as emotionally relatable as the scene in the original Frozen, where Elsa is grieving after her parents' death, physically hugging herself in an attempt to hold herself together. One could, however, argue that The Next Right Thing is saying, get a move on, get over it, in terms of its addressing depression. However, my interpretation was similar to Ben's from Super Carlin Brothers. No matter how bleak it is, even if you can only see the next step and no further, just keep moving. It's okay to feel hopeless sometimes. Another thing that the Super Carlin Brothers mention is that they feel that Anna's interpretation of Elsa's message is too good, that she knows exactly what it means, but she takes some leaps in logic to get there. I agree, it does require perhaps a little too much guessing and interpretation, but I do think all the pieces were there for Anna. For example, in Grandpappy's message, she can see the dam as Grandpappy says that everything is not as it seems, that there is a wrong that must be righted. So finding out that her grandfather, who built the dam, betrayed the North Aldrin people could easily lead to her understanding that the dam played a part in this. The spirits are clearly angry, and considering the dam is man-made and changed the landscape, I didn't find it that difficult to believe that Anna can deduce that the spirits are angry about the dam and that it needs to be destroyed. I would, however, have liked to see her go through this thought process on screen. I like that she has agency in the story, as is with the first Frozen. She stands up to her sister, balances Elsa out, and even takes the initiative and risks her life to arrange the destruction of the dam. There is so much to say about Elsa. Frozen 2 is her story. I like what they did with Elsa. She's not insecure about her powers anymore, but she is worried about doing the wrong thing and messing up what she has. She doesn't quite feel like she belongs, and her anxiety over these issues are portrayed in a very real way. Not only does she feel anxious, she doesn't want to burden anyone else with her troubles. She wants to please everyone else and care for everyone else before she cares for herself. I found Elsa's journey in the film very powerful. She discovers that she is worth more than she ever realized. To an extent, I felt like she realized she needs to care for her own needs before she can care for others, as is the case in real life. Along with this emotional growth, we see a growth in her powers, in how she learns to bring out frozen moments from the memory of water. An issue that many had with the film is Elsa's ability to pull the water from their parents' ship, allowing them to find out what happened to their parents. And I agree, it feels hand-wavy. After all, Elsa can't manipulate water. However, I would like to believe that she is using her powers to bring forth the memories of the water into a frozen moment, not specifically manipulating the water itself, and that fits into her powers. This, however, wasn't clear in the film. In the Super Carlin Brothers spoiler review, they question why Elsa froze to death. Their argument is that she's looking for a solution. She's looking for the truth, and freezes when she goes too deep into the river Carlin. But that without going that deep, she wouldn't have found the truth, and therefore she did nothing wrong. So, what they're asking is, why is Elsa being punished if she did nothing wrong? Personally, I don't think that this is meant to be a punishment. It's not that Elsa did something wrong or put her own needs ahead of someone else's, or that she was being selfish. Quite the opposite. Elsa knowingly pushes further in search of the truth. She knows that if she continues, she is putting herself in danger. It is a self-sacrifice, in the same way that Anna sacrificed herself in the first film. If Elsa did anything wrong, it would be being too selfless, and not looking after her own safety over righting the wrong of the past. It is the price she pays for the knowledge that she dives into the depths of Carlin and the past for. She knowingly pushes herself beyond what is safe when she descends into the depths after her grandfather, and ends up losing control and freezing in her efforts to reach the hidden truth. Others have questioned why Elsa freezes at all. Lots of people seem to think it, in some way, unfair that Elsa freezes. However, the sense of it is actually fairly simple in my opinion. Carlin seems to be the source of her power, and in the depths of Carlin, she can push her powers beyond anything she has before. She not only calls up memories, a recent skill she learned, and a powerful one, but calls up many, many living memories, not just frozen moments, and delves into the depths of the past long before her own birth to unlock the mystery of the wrong that must be righted. Carlin has all the answers to the past, but at a cost. Pushing too deep into the past comes at the risk of sinking and succumbing to her own powers together with the powers of Carlin. This also begs the question, why does Elsa unfreeze? When Anna causes the destruction of the dam, the land is at least symbolically restored. The water flows again. In a way, so does time start flowing again for the forest, which had been locked away for years in a timeless twilight where the same conflict never burnt out, but rather smoldered in the mists. Just as all that starts moving, so it seems Carlin is also restored to some extent, releasing Elsa and probably providing her with a renewed power as the land is freed. Notably, she's assisted and rescued by the water spirit, the spirit probably most affected by the recovery. I've seen people question why the voice led her to Carlin. Now, again, Carlin is presumably the source of Elsa's power. It is exactly where she not only undergoes her epiphany and transformation, but where she manages to push so deeply into her own powers that she can call on the memory of water to go all the way back and see the wrong that must be righted. It's her home in a spiritual sense. The fact that she gets frozen there is not a question of the spirits failing or something, it's due to her actions there. And lastly, a simple question I have seen asked many times. How does she reach Arendelle in time to save it? When Elsa unfreezes, we see her drop into the water of the ocean beneath the frozen layers of Carlin, and we see the water spirit spot her. So of course, the answer to this would be that the knock aided her in getting where she needed to be. The mythology of the film is quite interesting. The spirits are based in Scandinavian or Norse and Greek mythology. The water spirit is based on a knock, a mischievous spirit that in Nordic lore tries to trick and drown people. Similarly, the spirit does try to drown Elsa until she tames it. It is in this instance a representation of the wild ocean, the dark, untamable waters that lie between the forest and Carlin. The earth giants fit more into Norse mythology. Not completely, as there are only two giants to be found in a search through that mythology. One is an earth giantess, mentioned mostly in passing as the mother of Thor. The other is often interpreted as a sea giant instead. Despite this, there are races of giants in Norse mythology, such as the Jotuns or ice giants, and the mountains of the world are said to be carved from the bones of the first giant in the Norse creation myth. The actual appearance and nature of the earth giants in Frozen 2 seems to be influenced more by modern views of elementals as creatures formed from the element they represent rather than the more humanoid classic representation. Gale and the fire spirit seem to be based more in Greek mythology. Gale seems to be inspired by the Greek god of the west wind, Zephyr, said to be the gentlest of all the winds, warm and kind. Winds are also a common metaphor for change. The form the fire spirit takes, a salamander-like form, seems to be inspired by the Greek association between salamanders and fire. Not only did Aristotle believe salamanders could survive fires, but he believed they could put them out. Later on, people started believing that salamanders were born in fire or gave birth to fire. The fire spirit's nature is much like fire itself. When he is not out of control, he is cute, relatively safe, fascinating, and so on. When he gets out of control, seemingly due to similar reasons to what happens to Elsa, when fear sets off her powers in negative ways, he is terrifying and a spreading, nearly unstoppable danger that threatens to devour everything in its way. A question raised in the Super Carlin brothers video is why the spirits attack Elsa and her party at first, and why she needs to battle each one she encounters to tame them. The argument is that if the spirits are connected to the spirit in Carlin and therefore to Elsa, surely they would know that Elsa is coming. I don't think this is necessarily true. Even if the spirits knew that the fifth spirit has been calling to someone, they might not know who it has been calling or what they look like. Considering what happened the last time strangers entered the forest, it's understandable that the spirits are distrustful. Both Gale and the fire spirit seem defensive, as if trying to scare the party off rather than aggressive. Although Gale may have changed its mind when confronted with Elsa's powers, which could be why Gale focused on Elsa as soon as Elsa started using her powers, dropping the rest of the party. Her fighting the spirits to subdue them works for Gale, the fire spirit, the Knock, and presumably could have worked for the earth giants if Anna had not pulled her sister back from the confrontation. The initial disagreement might just be out of unfamiliarity. It's worth noting that Elsa creates the images of the spirits when she wakes them, before even going north, the same way she does when she calls to them in Carlin. Perhaps her interactions with the spirits are not directly required for her to connect with Carlin, but rather served other purposes in the narrative when she came across them. The fire spirit confirmed her authority to the North Aldrin tribe. The air spirit provided hints to the past, specifically the statue of their parents. The water spirit provided both a challenge for Elsa to overcome, as well as playing a role in the trip to Carlin and the preservation of Arendelle. The earth spirits provided a looming threat, a delay, a further confirmation of Elsa's link to the land and spirits, an opportunity for Anna to again balance Elsa out, then an impetus to further drive Elsa on to the north without waiting for Kristoff and Sven. Elsa's relationship with the spirits is also relevant to the way she saves Arendelle. She talks about a decision by the spirits, and it seems likely that the water spirit was key to how she not only blocked the wave, but how it dispersed calmly afterwards. An argument made by the Super Carlin brothers is that when Elsa tries to cross the sea, she is unable to block any of the waves for long, but easily blocks the wave that is about to destroy Arendelle, while it is arguably much bigger, and that even though Elsa is more powerful after her visit to Carlin, the power gradient feels very off. I would argue that when she is trying to cross the sea, the water spirit is actively trying to prevent her from doing so, actively fighting against her. When she blocks the water from the dam, she has both gone through a transformation and is working with the water spirit. She mentions that the spirits agreed that Arendelle should be spared. In many reviews and discussions, people analyze the possible political commentary on colonialism in the film. An interesting topic, but not one that we wish to discuss in this video. This segment is simply to say that we are aware of these discussions. Overall, Frozen 2 is a good movie, and seems to have overcome the curse of sequels. It's comparable to the original, but vastly different, and therefore worth watching. We rate the film 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks to C, Fair Rarity, Steph Flores, and Kirsten for proofreading the script and allowing me to bounce ideas off of you guys. Always helps to get the opinion of others when it comes to these things. If you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what you liked and disliked about Frozen 2 in the comments down below, and until next time, take care.